Both governors of Iowa and Illinois celebrate their inaugurations to new terms in office. Both also highlighted their priorities this week, both focused on education in very different ways. We'll talk about that this morning with Iowa Republican Party Chair Jeff Kaufman and Sherry Carnahan, second vice chair of the Scott County Democratic Party. Great to see you both. We'll start in Iowa, where Governor Kim Reynolds and Republicans are wasting no time getting to work on her latest push to create a private school voucher program. It failed the last 2 years. The governor tweaked her plan a little in this latest version. She wants to create what she calls education savings accounts that would provide about $7,600 a year for students in public schools to go to private schools, and would be available for kids already in private schools with priorities for low-income families. This would be on a phased-in basis, and that $7,600 amount is what the state spends on every student in public schools right now. It would go to students who make the switch instead of their local school district. Opponents have a few concerns that private schools might not be held accountable for what they teach while getting taxpayer money, that everyone is eligible no matter income level, that a lot of families in rural areas couldn't take advantage of it because they don't live close to private schools, and that would come at the expense of public schools ultimately. So can this be resolved in a way that can address these concerns? If so, how? Jeff, you first.
Well, I mean, if it's an all or nothing, absolutely no dollars whatsoever, no scholarships, it probably won't be resolved because it's a black or white situation. But if there's some give and take, yes, I think there's some middle ground. She clearly has expanded what she wants to do with her program in the state of the state address. I don't know what the legislature is going to do in terms of they're going to take the entire program wholesale or not. But this should come as absolutely no surprise. I mean, one thing about it, she's been very transparent about this. She campaigned on this. It was her #1 issue. It was brought up in every forum, in every debate, and she tried for 2 years in a row. And it should be absolutely no surprise that she's back, and that the governor is wanting to give parental choice in all of this. And in addition to that, too, Jim, I would say she also has requested a 2.5% increase for all public schools, which would bring the total amount spent on public schools at $3.68 billion. So this is not an abandonment of public schools, as some are ringing an alarm bell.
Sherry Carnahan, Jeff is right. The governor has been very transparent that this has been a priority of hers for the last 2 years, and she's trying again. How do you counter what Jeff's argument is?
First of all, on the part about the 2.5% income or amount of funding the public school system, that doesn't keep up with inflation. So it's been, any raise that they've gotten has not kept up with inflation, so it still keeps the schools behind the 8 ball. Also, if only 2% of the student population is going to be able to be affected by this, it causes, in my opinion, it causes the schools, the public school system, to have issues that will hurt the students that are there. And also in the state, we're a state that is aging, and we're having a lot of our young people are leaving the state because we are a low-wage state. And public schools are an economic development tool, in my opinion. And if we don't have strong and stable public schools, we're going to continue to lose young families. They're not going to want to move here, because the school system isn't strong and stable, the public school system.
Let's go to Illinois now. Governor J.B. Pritzker has his own ambitious agenda for his second term. He delivered his second inaugural address this week. Pritzker indicated he wants to make preschool available for every family in the state and to make college tuition free for every working class family. Illinois has only dug itself out of budget deficits the last couple of years. It's not in an incredibly solvent position when you consider its pension liability. I guess, how much is the governor biting off more than he can chew? Would these goals require a lot more in tax revenue? Sherry, you're the Democrat here. Can you defend the governor's position, and is it doable?
Without knowing what all the details are, I don't know that I can answer that accurately. He talked about it in his State of the State address, but didn't give any details to my knowledge. And if it's something that can be is affordable and doesn't affect in an adverse way, I think that it's a wonderful idea to make childcare more available, and obviously if it's free, that's more affordable to the families that need it the most. And I don't know about I don't know that I can address the college piece of it. I don't know if that's just free for community college, or all state universities. So I'm sorry, I don't have enough information that I can really address that.
Yeah, sure. Those details are very thin at the moment, Jeff. Obviously, Sherry makes a good point there. Is this still, though, even a practical matter when you consider all of this? Because this is what Democrats have talked about at a national level, even.
Sure. Let me say something negative and something positive, Jim. The negative part is exactly right. I mean, Illinois is the third most in-debt state in the country. I mean, they got $210 billion that they're in debt. So Governor Pritzker did the easy thing, handing out the candy. He's got to pay for that candy. Can he afford complete free tuition and universal preschool? I think we all know he can't do that. Having said that, though, in Iowa, Republicans took a lead and got Democratic support last year on child care legislation. They're going to look at that again. As long as you include private providers with assurance of quality, there can be universal preschool. Nothing to say that it all has to be public and all has to be taxpayer funded. We can still achieve that goal. And the other thing I would like to see Governor Pritzker address is he talked about the affordability of tuition. Well, if you're going to attack affordability, you also got to attack the sacred cow. And in that particular case, it's the absolute out of touch growing bureaucracy and costs for running those universities. And that's a difficult thing to do because that's his constituency. But if you want to really attack the costs of higher education and make it more affordable, you're going to have to go in there and ask, do you really need an assistant to the assistant to the assistant dean? The answer is almost always no.
Jeff Kopp and Sherry Carnahan, good discussion. Both of you be safe.